There's a silent language we all speak, the language of what we ask of each other. Some requests seem innocent, but underneath, they reveal something far deeper. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, believed that human beings are not simply who they appear to be. Behind the mask we show the world, the personas, there's a hidden self, a shadow, filled with unmet needs, fears, and even manipulation. In our daily lives, certain people will make requests of us that seem small, harmless. But Jung warned, when a request violates your sense of self, when it demands you betray your inner truth, you are standing at a crossroads. If you say yes to these demands, you risk losing something far more valuable than your time or your resources. You risk losing yourself. Today we'll explore 5 types of requests that serve as powerful warning signs. 5 requests that, if you hear them, you must not ignore. Protect your mind. Protect your path. Let's begin. Before we dive into these 5 warning signs, we need to understand the lens through which we view them. The psychological insights of Carl Jung. Carl Gustav Jung was not just a psychologist. He was a pioneer, a thinker who looked beyond the surface of human behavior to the deep forces that drive us. According to Jung, every person wears a social mask crafted to meet the expectations of society. It's the face we show at work, at home, even among friends. But behind this mask lies what Jung called the shadow, the unconscious part of ourselves that contains everything we deny or repress. Our fears, our hidden desires, our unresolved wounds. Sometimes, people aren't even aware of what their shadow wants, but it leaks out through the things they ask of us, the demands they make, and the ways they try to pull us into their internal conflicts. Jung believed that real growth, the journey of individuation, happens when we recognize these forces, not just in ourselves, but in others. And when necessary, we must have the courage to walk away. Understanding the nature of human requests and what they might secretly reveal is not about being suspicious of everyone. It's about protecting the integrity of your own soul. Now, with Jung's insights as our guide, let's examine the 5 types of requests that should immediately make you pause and ask yourself, is this truly about connection or control? The first, and perhaps most dangerous request someone can make, is asking you to betray your own values. At first, it may seem small. A friend might joke about something you find offensive and ask you to laugh along. A colleague might encourage you to cut corners. Just this once. It starts with a tiny step away from what you believe in, and that step seems harmless. But Carl Jung warned us, the moment you abandon your values, even in small ways, you begin a silent war within yourself. Your values are not just rules you learned growing up. They are the deeply rooted principles that anchor your soul. They define who you are when no one is watching. When someone asks you to betray them, whether through dishonesty, cruelty, disloyalty, or silence, they are not simply testing your flexibility. They are, consciously or unconsciously, asking you to wound yourself. Jung's concept of the self, the true center of our being, depends on the integration of conscious and unconscious elements. Every time you go against your own inner truth for the sake of belonging, approval, or fear, you fracture that center. You create a split inside the outer self, who says yes to survive, and the inner self, who whispers no in shame and anger. Over time, these betrayals pile up, and the person you become no longer feels like you. A young woman refuses to participate in gossiping about a coworker, despite pressure. She looks nervous but says, "I'm not comfortable talking about her like that," and quietly walks away. She feels isolated for a moment, but then a look of pride and peace crosses her face. Integrity often feels lonely in the moment, but it builds a life where you don't have to look over your shoulder. It builds a life where you can live peacefully within your own skin. Jung believed that the process of individuation, the process of becoming your true self, requires deep loyalty to your inner truth. Not loyalty to a group, a relationship, or even success, but loyalty to your own self. When someone pressures you to betray your values, they are not offering you connection. They are offering you a mask at the cost of your soul. Stay near those who honor your values, even if they don't always agree with them, and walk away, no matter how painful it feels, from those who ask you to leave yourself behind, because the one thing no one should ever ask you to sacrifice is yourself. The second dangerous request to beware of is the demand for unquestioning loyalty. At first glance, loyalty seems like a beautiful thing. To stand by someone's side, to support them when the world feels hostile, is a virtue. But Carl Jung taught us, even virtues, when taken to extremes, can become prisons. When someone demands loyalty that ignores your judgment, your conscience, or your independent thought, they are not seeking connection. They are seeking control. True loyalty is a gift freely given, born from respect and love. False loyalty is extracted through guilt, fear, or manipulation. From a Jungian perspective, a person who demands blind loyalty is often projecting their own insecurity, their own hidden fear of abandonment, onto you. They fear facing their shadow, the part of themselves that feels unworthy or powerless. So instead, they try to bind you to them, to make you responsible for their sense of security. You are not here to be someone's emotional shield. You are not here to silence your conscience for the sake of someone else's comfort. Healthy relationships, whether friendships, partnerships, or family bonds, allow space for disagreement, for growth, for truth. If someone truly loves and respects you, they will never demand you surrender your mind in exchange for their approval. A young man refuses to lie for his friend who's cheated on a partner. The friend says, "You owe me. You're supposed to have my back." The man replies calmly, "I'm your friend, but I won't betray my own integrity for you." He walks away with a heavy but resolved heart. It's not betrayal to refuse to be a part of something that violates your ethics. It's an act of courage to stand alone when necessary. Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires breaking free from the unconscious ties that bind us to collective expectations. True maturity means developing your own center of gravity. In unhealthy relationships, loyalty is weaponized to force you into submission. In healthy relationships, loyalty is inspired, not commanded. Always ask yourself, is this loyalty building my strength or burying my voice? Stay close to those who honor your independent spirit. Distance yourself from those who see loyalty as ownership, because the price of blind loyalty is the slow, silent death of who you are meant to become. The third warning sign is subtle, but deeply damaging. Beware of those who want you to suppress your feelings for their comfort. We live in a world that often rewards the appearance of peace over the reality of truth. Many people, sometimes even those closest to us, become uncomfortable when faced with real emotions: sadness, anger, fear, grief. Instead of listening, they ask you to smile. Instead of supporting you, they ask you to get over it. Instead of sitting with you in discomfort, they urge you to pretend. Carl Jung warned that suppression of emotion is not harmless. It does not make pain disappear. Suppressed emotions don't die. They burrow deep into the unconscious, growing stronger, darker, and more destructive over time. When someone pressures you to bottle up your true feelings for their ease, they are not protecting you, they are protecting themselves from having to feel uncomfortable, guilty, or responsible. You learn to distrust your own inner world. You begin to internalize a dangerous message. My feelings are a problem. I am a burden. Over time, you can become a stranger to yourself. Someone who smiles automatically, agrees politely, and silences the silent scream inside. This is not resilience. This is emotional abandonment, the abandonment of yourself. A woman tries to tell her partner she's feeling overwhelmed and isolated. Her partner quickly says, "You're too sensitive. Can't you just be happy?" She nods quietly, but later sits alone, tears filling her eyes, feeling more invisible than ever. Real connection doesn't ask you to erase your feelings. It welcomes them, even when they are messy, inconvenient, or hard to hear. Jung believed that emotions, especially painful ones, are not obstacles to growth. They are guides. Every feeling, no matter how dark or uncomfortable, carries a message from the unconscious. To deny those messages is to cut yourself off from your own soul's navigation system. Healing begins not with pretending everything is fine, but with standing in the truth of how you feel, even when it shakes the ground beneath you. Stay close to those who can sit with your sadness without rushing to fix it. Stay close to those who can hold space for your anger without silencing you. Stay close to those who honor your vulnerability instead of fleeing from it. Because love that only welcomes your smile but rejects your tears is not love at all. The fourth warning sign is perhaps the most heartbreaking of all. Stay away from those who ask you to sacrifice your dreams or goals for them. Dreams are not just ideas. They are the deepest callings of your soul, the quiet voice that says, "This is who you are meant to become." When someone asks you to give that up, to stay small, to stay near, to stay safe for their sake, they are asking you to silence that sacred voice. At first, the request might sound innocent. Do you really have to move away for that job? Do you really think you can succeed? Why can't you just stay here, with me, where you belong? But underneath it is often fear. Their fear of losing you, their fear of being left behind, their fear of facing their own unlived dreams. Carl Jung warned us that the unlived life of the parent, the partner, the friend, often spills over into the lives of those closest to them. They project their regrets onto you, trying, without even realizing it, to hold you back from becoming what they were too afraid to pursue. A young man earns a scholarship to study abroad. His family pressures him, "Don't leave us. We need you here." He struggles, almost gives in, but in the end boards the plane, tears in his eyes but fire in his heart. Choosing your dream will sometimes mean disappointing people you love. That's a painful truth. But betraying your dream will always mean disappointing yourself. Jung believed that the self, the true whole self, calls us toward individuation. It calls us to live out our unique destiny, not to fulfill the expectations of others. The unlived life does not simply disappear. It festers, it turns into resentment, and worse, it becomes the quiet, aching voice of regret that whispers at the edge of your mind as the years slip by. If someone truly loves you, they will cheer for you as you chase the horizon, even if it means standing alone on the shore waving goodbye. They will understand that love is not ownership. Love is setting someone free, even when your heart aches. Stay near those who water your dreams, not those who ask you to uproot them, because the path you are meant to walk is yours alone, and no one, not even those who love you, have the right to take it away. The fifth, and perhaps the most devastating request: stay away from those who demand that you become someone you're not. At first, the pressure may feel subtle. Why can't you be more outgoing? You'd be perfect if you just changed this one thing. You're too much. You're not enough. Over time, these small pressures chip away at your identity, like water carving grooves into stone. You find yourself editing your words, hiding your true opinions, smiling when your heart is heavy, agreeing when your soul cries out in protest. Carl Jung taught that the greatest tragedy of the human spirit is to live a life dictated by the mask, what he called the persona. The persona is necessary. It's the face we show the world. But when the mask becomes all we are allowed to be, when it becomes a prison, the true self withers in the dark. When someone demands you change fundamental parts of who you are, your dreams, your temperament, your beliefs, for their comfort, their approval, their love, they are not loving you. They are loving a version of you that they have invented. And every day you comply, you drift farther and farther from the sacred center of your being. A young artist falls in love with someone who constantly tells them to find a real job, to stop wasting time. Over time, they abandon painting altogether. Years later, they stare blankly at a blank canvas, feeling hollow inside. You may think you are keeping the peace by surrendering who you are, but inside, a war rages between the self you were meant to become and the mask you are forced to wear. Jung warned that ignoring the self leads to deep neurosis, anxiety, depression. Why? Because the soul cannot thrive in captivity. It will protest, first quietly, then louder, until it breaks through in ways that demand attention. You were not born to be an echo of someone else's expectations. You were born to unfold the unique, mysterious pattern woven into your soul from the very beginning. Stay close to those who love you in your fullness, not for what you provide, not for who you could become, but for the truth of who you already are. Stay away from those who hand you a script and expect you to play the part. You are not a character in someone else's story. You are the author of your own. Because losing yourself to win someone's approval is the most devastating loss of all. Life is too short and too sacred to spend it betraying yourself. Carl Jung taught that the journey of life is the journey of individuation, the unfolding of your true nature, the discovery of who you are meant to be beneath the noise, beneath the expectations, beneath the fear. You were never meant to live inside someone else's shadow. You were never meant to silence your feelings, to betray your values, to abandon your dreams, or to wear a mask that doesn't fit. So choose yourself. Honor the whisper within you that says, "This is not who I am," and listen to the quieter voice that says, This is who I could become." If this message resonated with you, if you feel the stirring to return to your true self, know that you're not alone on this journey. I invite you to subscribe, join this community, and walk this path of growth together with us. And if you know someone who needs this message today, share this video with them. It might be the sign they've been waiting for. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing yourself. Until next time, stay true, stay strong, and stay free.